Picture this. It's like 3 in the morning. You're tossing, you're turning, and your frustration is slowly morphing into full-blown anxiety.
Oh, yeah. The absolute worst feeling.
Right. And the culprit isn't a loud noise or, a nightmare. It's a single tiny laser beam sliver of a streetlight creeping through the absolute edge of your blinds.
Or that early morning summer sun that just decides to blast into your room like 2 hours before your alarm is actually set to go off.
Exactly. And you just lie there doing the mental math of how much sleep you're losing, and you can literally feel your heart rate spike. And then when you finally drag yourself out of bed and look in the mirror, you're greeted by puffy eyes, these deeply etched sleep lines, and just this sheer heavy sense of exhaustion. I mean, we have all lived some version of that morning.
We really have. It's a remarkably universal and completely infuriating experience. And it's funny because, we spend so much time and money optimizing our waking hours, our diets, our workflows, our exercise routines.
Right, the endless optimization.
Exactly. Yet we often completely surrender our sleeping environment to whatever ambient light just happens to bleed into the room. We treat darkness as this optional luxury rather than an actual biological requirement.
Okay, let's unpack this, because that biological requirement is exactly the mission of today's deep dive. We are looking at a fascinating stack of source material today, all about sleep accessories.
Yes, and the research here is super compelling.
It really is. But our goal here isn't just to talk about generic, nice-to-have bedtime routines. We are going to uncover the surprising biological, neurological, and dermatological science behind why one specific item, the silk eye mask, is increasingly being viewed not as a luxury, but as an absolute physiological game changer.
Which is incredibly relevant for anyone listening who values efficiency and, high leverage habits, because the sources detail how a single deceptively simple intervention can simultaneously manipulate your sleep architecture, protect your skin barrier, and drastically improve your daytime cognitive focus.
Yeah, it's wild.
It really is. We're looking at a multifunctional tool masquerading as just a simple piece of fabric.
Well, let's start with the most obvious function of an eye mask, right?
Yeah.
Creating darkness. The source material digs really heavily into why our brains so desperately need that darkness to function properly. But what stood out to me is the sheer sensitivity of our biology. It turns out light isn't just an annoyance. It is essentially the enemy of the sleep cycle.
The mechanism behind that is what makes this so critical, because we tend to think that if our eyes are closed, we are in the dark.
Right, like the curtains are drawn.
Yeah, but the biology tells a very different story. Human eyelids are incredibly thin and translucent. Even when your eyes are firmly shut, photoreceptors in your retina are actively scanning for light.
Wait, really? Even when they're completely shut?
Yep, completely shut. When that sliver of streetlight you mentioned earlier hits your closed eyelid, those photons pass right through the skin. Your retina detects them and instantly fires an electrical signal straight to the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is this tiny region of the brain that acts as your master biological clock.
Wow. So even though you feel like you are asleep, your brain is actively monitoring the environment for warning.
Constantly.
I was trying to visualize this pathway from the notes, and it feels a lot like a strict nightclub bouncer.
Oh, I like that. How so?
Well, think about it. Melatonin, the hormone responsible for regulating our sleep, is like the VIP guest inside the club. It's in there repairing cells, consolidating memories, doing all the important night shift work. But the brain is the bouncer at the door. If that bouncer sees even a tiny bit of light sneaking in, even a single photon, it triggers a massive biological alarm.
Right, because it thinks it's daytime.
Exactly. It immediately assumes the sun is coming up, refuses to let any more melatonin into the club, and starts prepping the daytime wakefulness chemicals. The physiological repair process just gets shut down before it even finishes.
That is a perfect analogy. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, consider the absolute chaos this causes in a modern environment. I mean, your brain evolved on the savannah, where the only light at night was the moon and the stars.
Right. No neon signs out there.
Exactly. But today, we're bombarded by LED street lamps, passing car headlights, the blinking standby lights of our electronics. That optical bouncer is constantly being triggered. The document points out that creating complete artificial darkness with an eye mask is the ultimate biological override.
Because you are placing a physical barrier right over that translucent eyelid.
Yes. It tells the brain, unequivocally and constantly, that it is the middle of the night.
And when you successfully signal the brain that way, the cascade of benefits listed in the notes is just staggering. We are talking about significantly faster sleep onset, meaning you aren't lying there doing that mental math for an hour.
Which is a relief in itself.
Truly, the sources also point to deeper sleep cycles, more robust REM sleep, and drastically reduced nighttime awakenings.
Because you're eliminating the microarousals caused by fluctuating ambient light, you aren't just sleeping longer, you're sleeping far more efficiently. Whether you are a shift worker trying to force your brain to sleep at noon, or a frequent traveler dealing with unfamiliar hotel rooms, or just someone living in a densely populated city, tricking the brain into perceiving pitch blackness is a foundational biological hack.
Yeah, it really makes sense.
You're taking active control of your circadian rhythm instead of just, being at the mercy of urban light pollution.
But I have to play devil's advocate here for a second because a really obvious physical question arises from this.
Okay, go for it.
If the only biological goal is blocking photons from hitting the retina, why not just wear a cheap synthetic mask from a dollar store? Or a heavy cotton one? Like, why not just wrap a thick, dark T-shirt around your eyes and call it a day?
That is the exact trap a lot of people fall into. We have to shift our focus from what the mask is doing to your brain to what it is mechanically doing to the surface of your face.
Right, the physical contact.
Exactly. You are taking a piece of fabric and strapping it tightly to your head for 8 consecutive hours while you are unconscious. And the notes highlight a very specific anatomical reality. The periorbital skin, which is the skin immediately surrounding our eyes, is the thinnest, most delicate skin on the entire human body.
Oh, right, the friction factor.
Yeah.
When you look at the dermatology notes in our sources, it paints a pretty rough picture of what happens during the night. I mean, we aren't perfectly still when we sleep. We roll, we shift, we press our faces into pillows.
We move a lot. And that thinness makes the periorbital area incredibly vulnerable to mechanical damage. Traditional fabrics like heavy cotton or standard woven synthetics, they're abrasive at a microscopic level.
Like sandpaper.
Kinda, yeah. Imagine a thick rope dragging across a delicate surface. That is what cotton fibers actually look like under a microscope. When you shift your weight, your head presses that abrasive fabric into your thin skin. The source explicitly states that this prolonged mechanical shearing contributes directly to microtears, skin irritation, redness, and the gradual breakdown of collagen.
Man, so you're literally ironing sleep creases into your face. I was reading this section on how those temporary morning sleep lines eventually become permanent wrinkles just through sheer repetition.
It's a cumulative effect, yeah.
But silk apparently completely alters that mechanical equation. The document explains that silk's naturally long, smooth protein fibers dramatically reduce that friction. It glides over the skin rather than gripping and dragging it. And the sources make a fairly bold claim here.
They do.
They state that silk reduces under-eye puffiness and dark circles by preventing that unnecessary rubbing, to the point where beauty experts universally consider it an anti-aging investment. But I've got to ask.
You seem a bit hesitant about the phrase anti-aging.
I am, because my immediate reaction was, wait, are we really classifying a sleep accessory as an active anti-aging skincare routine? Or is it simply a secondary effect?
What do you mean?
Like, getting better sleep naturally makes your cortisol levels drop, so you naturally look less like a zombie in the morning. Is the mask actually doing the physical work, or is the deeper sleep doing the work?
That is a vital distinction to make, and it's great you caught that. The source material actually separates these two benefits quite clearly.
Okay, so they are different.
Yes. The systemic benefit of deep sleep absolutely leads to brighter eyes, better cellular turnover, and a fresher appearance. Fixing the circadian rhythm fixes the internal systemic issues of inflammation. However, and this is key, the physical lack of friction provided by silk is a completely separate mechanical benefit.
Ah, I see. So you could be getting incredible deep sleep, but if you're wearing rough cotton, you are still actively damaging the skin on the outside.
Precisely the point. And there's another issue with cotton. It's highly absorbent.
Right, it soaks things up.
Exactly. It's a plant fiber designed by nature to draw in water. Throughout the night, a cotton mask acts like a sponge, pulling natural moisture and, any expensive nighttime skincare serums right off your face, leaving the delicate eye area totally dry and dehydrated.
Which is the exact opposite of what you want.
Right. Silk, conversely, is an animal protein. It's significantly less absorbent, meaning it protects the skin's moisture barrier and leaves your hydration exactly where it belongs on your skin. It provides the biological sleep benefit while simultaneously eliminating the mechanical and chemical damage caused by traditional fabrics.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because as I was reading about protecting this ultra-delicate moisture barrier, My brain went straight to the physics of body heat.
Oh, the temperature issue.
Yeah. We're talking about taking a tightly woven piece of fabric and strapping it flush against the thinnest skin on our face. Doesn't that just create a mini oven? If you are sealing the skin to protect the moisture, aren't you just going to wake up with a sweaty, overheated face and trapped bacteria?
That is the exact reason so many people abandon traditional sleep masks. If you have ever tried to sleep in a cheap, synthetic fabric like polyester, you know exactly what that oven effect feels
Oh
like.
yeah, it's suffocating. Like sleeping in a plastic bag.
Exactly. Synthetics are essentially non-porous plastics. They trap body heat and completely block airflow. But this brings us to the fascinating microclimates and the material science of silk itself.
I loved this part. It acts like a smart thermostat for your face.
Yes. The material science behind that thermostat effect is just incredible. We have to look at where silk actually comes from. It's a natural protein fiber, primarily composed of a protein called fibroin, which is produced by silkworms.
Ride the cocoon.
Exactly. The entire evolutionary purpose of that silk cocoon is to protect the organism inside while perfectly regulating its temperature through severe weather changes.
So it is biologically engineered to be breathable.
Down to a microscopic level.
The notes explain that unlike synthetic plastics that suffocate the skin, the porous structure of that fibroin protein naturally promotes optimal airflow. It constantly vents excess heat while retaining just enough warmth to stay comfortable.
And this dynamic thermoregulation is crucial for reducing nighttime sweating and preventing the trapped bacteria that leads to breakouts. The source emphasizes that this natural temperature control means a silk mask feels actively cooler on your face in the sweltering heat of summer, yet it provides a very comfortable, cozy warmth in the dead of